As our top focus comes in from Gujarat, it's been a horrific tragedy. An important question will be, will heads roll? Will there be accountability after the bridge that collapsed has led to the loss of life of over 130 people at least and counting? This was a century-old bridge in Gujarat's Morbi town, and these are the visuals on your screen. The very moment when the bridge had collapsed, plunging hundreds of people into the river, eyewitnesses said the incident took place in a split second. Rescue and relief operations have been on over the night. 3 teams of NDRF, 50 personnel of the Navy, 30 personnel of Indian Air Force, along with 2 columns of the Indian Army personnel are on the job in their final stage of rescue operations. Deep divers from the Indian Navy have been deployed and trying to rescue as many people alive as possible. This visual on your screen to show how the NDRF people were trying to help out those who were stranded and were trying to save onto that bridge as their lifeline. This was the historic hanging bridge over the Machhu river, a popular tourist attraction that collapsed. People tried to make their way somehow to the bank as they were rescued by the team. Criminal case has now been registered under section 304, 308, culpable homicide not amounting to murder against collapse of the signature bridge in Morbi. The remnants of the bridge look like this now, wrecked and hanging in half. 5-member SIT committee to investigate this horrific tragedy. That would be the bigger question of who gave the clearance to this bridge to be opened for the public. The rescue operations have been on through the night and are in the final stages. My colleague Ashutosh Mishra is talking and speaking to some of the rescue personnel on the job. Horrific tragedy, but they're trying to save as many people as they possibly can. Ashutosh, over to you.
Absolutely, Pooja, and this is really a mountain task since last night it been on, and as we know the death toll has already crossed 100. The biggest challenge of course to find out survivor, which is very unlikely. Now I'm on board with a special boat carrying the Navy personnel from Jamnagar. और कितने घंटे से joining with the Sub Lieutenant Harshvardhan Tripathi, कितनी देर से चला रहे हैं आप लोग ऑपरेशन?
हमारा ऑपरेशन 4 या 5 घंटे से चल रहा है और वेरियस टीम्स हैं हमारी, तो दे आर स्विचिंग.
रात को जब हम यहाँ पर थे सबसे बड़ी मुश्किल आ रही थी बिकॉज लाइट नहीं थी यहाँ पे. अब तो दिन में रोशनी है. सर्वाइवल के पॉसिबिलिटी या चांसेस कितने हैं?
सर्वाइवल का पॉसिबिलिटी तो नहीं है, मतलब इट गेट्स ओवर इन विद इन 5 to 10 minutes. आफ्टर दैट सर्वाइवल पॉसिबिलिटी इज नॉट देयर, बट स्टिल लाइक फैमिली मेंबर्स ऑफ दोज हु हैव सफर्ड, they are looking forward for bodies, so we are searching for them.
How difficult it is being, because what I see the visibility in the water, because there are divers also from Porbandar, the Porbandar team of the Indian Navy, but since the visibility is very low, how difficult it's gonna be, if at all there are some people could be trapped possibly inside?
See, we are just taking an assumption, fair assumption that where we can find bodies. We are dropping hooks so that it gets stuck to some of the cloth or like body part of the personnel who are down, and then we are sending some people down, those who are specialized in diving and all, and then we are recovering.
I'll show you the hooks that the Navy personnel are using. These are the hooks, conventional hook method that is being used. Possibly if there are someone inside, any dead bodies inside, that would possibly trick with it, and then the divers will be sent inside. And right behind me there are the special divers from the Navy team from the Porbandar. Other side the NDRF has also brought its own divers, and this is exactly the epicenter where this tragedy unfolded. And right after when the bridge collapsed, this is where exactly high possibility was that most people not just falling down but also trapped under this heavy tons of that the metal sheet that was almost the surface where people were on board, and when it broke down totally, possibly more and more people could be inside, and that's exactly why the death toll number has gone really up. But since almost the mission is close to end, the only, as you heard the sub-lieutenant, the only possibility what they're exploring is to find out those who are missing if there are dead bodies inside. Pooja.
It's about the rescue operations that they have been able to pull out someone to safety. Are they primarily women, children, men, young men, anything specific that they have looked at for us to understand? Because there must have been families there at that point when the bridge collapsed.
Well, mostly it was the women and children, those were very vulnerable. Those people who were good swimmer, they literally, went out, and what we heard from the eyewitnesses, it was really difficult first to save the children. In fact, when they lift up this part of the metal sheet, the bridge part, then the first few bodies that were recovered were the children. जब से आप लोगों ने operation शुरू किया है, how many women and children were you found?
We started our operation like 2 at night. So I think after that 5 to 6 bodies have been retrieved, and I think
Mostly adults, children, or the
most of them are children. Yeah, exactly.
the most
Ashutosh,
vulnerable.
if you possibly can ask them, for the viewer watching this right now, many would think, can't people swim to safety or be able to somehow reach to the bank? Can these personnel on the ground also help us understand how deep is the river? For people to understand that it wouldn't have been easy at that moment in panic for people to have been able to even swim back to the surface, which many did. But for families facing that, do help us understand the depth of river, how big is the river, how difficult was the rescue operation to have carried out?
To the right side of the bridge.
The first difficulty late in the evening and midnight was, of course, the lights. The heavy beam light were used. Now, also the water, though it's not really very deep, but the visibility, because it's largely polluted, the visibility is very poor. But how deep is the water?
It's around 15 to 18 feet.
And you have already sent divers to check inside. How difficult it was going inside?
It's not, basically the things are not visible because it's polluted, and most of it is like polythenes, and also it's polluted. That's why the visibility is not there, and that is why it's more difficult to find
And that's
people.
exactly why the conventional method of these hooks being dropped inside by various teams, that at least they would find someone, because there is no visibility. Last night, of course, even the light was really crucial. They put out the high beam lights, but now since are very difficult, somehow they're managing these operations with the divers. And as you see, the mega mission, NDRF, SDRF, Indian Navy, Indian Army, all personals, maximum workforce have been placed here to find out at least those who are missing. Pooja.